Hey everyone, Hurricane Liz here, and in this video I'm excited to share with you guys why you should be running Amazon PPC if you aren't already. And in fact, I'm going to break down and show you the several different strategies that you can actually put into effect if you aren't already doing it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. The reason you should be running PPC is because of this simple fact. In fact, I read this article just the other day ago showing that Amazon's ad business is growing faster than both Facebook and Google together. So what you really need to think about is that although Facebook and Google have been dominant in this space for a very long time, Amazon is a new player in town. And if you haven't seen all the buzz going on around about Amazon, you should be paying close attention. If you don't already have your physical products on Amazon, you should think about putting them there. Whether you're selling on Shopify, whether you're selling on eBay or anywhere else, let's face it, Amazon dominates the traffic. So with that being said, you have to really be doing at least this single strategy to get organic sales as well as paid traffic sales, and that strategy is running PPC. So let's quickly talk about the different strategies that you can put in play when you actually run PPC and the things that you should be aware of when you run PPC. So first and foremost, we want to run PPC during a launch. So what I mean by that is if you're barely introducing your product into the Amazon marketplace, then you should also be introducing PPC as one of the methods of running traffic to your product. And at the end of the day, that will just get you more people to view your product as well as more sales if you have your product optimized properly. So at a launch, the things that you have to consider is you want to be a bit more aggressive. So the name of the game is aggression here, because you want to sell as many units as possible. And by being aggressive and setting two things, higher bids, as well as being tolerant of something Amazon calls an ACOS, which is, I'll go over ACOS in a whole nother video. That would take me about 10 minutes to explain, but just consider ACOS as a way to determine profit. So usually what you want to run is you want to know what your margins are before you run this, right? So you want to know what kind of profit you're making on the product. And in the case of a product that makes you 40% margins, in order to run profitable ads, you would need to have a 40% sales, 40% or less ACOS. 40% ACOS means you're break even. So ACOS is usually just a measure of your sales versus your ad costs. And again, I'll go over that in another video. If somebody is really interested in that, I will gladly cover that. But just know that during launch and when you're first launching a product, you want to be as aggressive as possible. You want to have higher bids, and you also want to be fine with basically being at an equal ACOS. The second strategy that people usually employ is the strategy of running PPC for the sake of brand visibility. So what exactly does that mean? That basically means you want your product seen by more and more people so that potentially you can get more and more fans and more sales. So when you run for brand visibility, once again, you're actually employing a very similar strategy to a launch and a higher ACOS. So once again, you're going to want to deal with higher bids and then a higher ACOS, which means if your margins in this case are, let's say they're 45%, you should be tolerant of a 45% ACOS, which pretty much means you should be fine with breaking even just for the sake of building your brand visibility, which again, at the end of the day, means more recognition for your brand. So the third way that you'll typically want to run PPC is to generate sales and keep organic reach. So this one's a little bit different. This is where you start to be as aggressive and you start thinking a little bit more about profits, but you're still aware that you want to keep your organic position and you want to keep generating sales. So with this one being said, your bids are not as aggressive, but they're still maintaining some level of aggression. Your ACOS is not as high. So in this particular case, you'd be looking, if your margin was 40%, you'd be looking for an ACOS maybe 5 to 10% lesser. So 30%, even 35% is probably what you'd be looking at doing, which basically means you're only making 5% on every sale, 5 to 10% on every sale margin. However, it's helping you maintain your organic rank in Amazon. And as we all know, that is what we all live by, is being on page 1 of Amazon. When you're on page 1, you are golden. So let's talk about the fourth and final reason that you will want to consider running PPC for, and this is usually the final stage. It's when your brand has already kind of built themselves into the first page and they've been on the first page for a long time and you're making a lot of organic sales. What you want to do is now you're looking to scale your PPC for profit. So what this means, this is the lowest level of aggression, and typically your bids aren't going to be as high. You'll cut some down. And I obviously spelled aggression wrong. I suck at spelling, but I'm pretty good at selling on Amazon, so I think that's a good give and take, right? And the final thing on this is you're looking for a lower ACOS, which basically means if your margins are, let's say 50%, you're gonna want to bring down your ACOS to 30% to 40% so that you make at least 10 to 20% profit on there. But at the end of the day, you're still making sales with PPC and you're still running PPC. You're just not being as aggressive as you once were because your brand is a little bit more established on Amazon. So again, those are the 4 different ways that you can run PPC on Amazon. And remember, the most important part of this all is, please, whatever you're doing, start running PPC. It's super important. And if you can learn how to do PPC, you will have a long-lasting business on Amazon.com. Not a lot of people know how to do it properly. Most people are confused, but what you want to do is you want to start learning somewhere. So get out there, start doing PPC on your actual products if you aren't already, and get ready for the next generation of ad giant, because Amazon, if you haven't noticed, they are taking over just about everything, and ads is one of them. In case you guys have any questions, just please post them below and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And if you haven't already picked up our How to Get Started Selling Guide on Amazon, you can also pick that up on the link below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.